Good evening, sir, and welcome to Channel's Energy Series, where we spotlight very important and critical issues around energy in Nigeria as it affects the economy, the people, and the livelihood of the country and its citizens. And we're glad to have you on our invitation to speak to critical infrastructure issues in Nigeria, especially as regards to energy security, sustainability, and energy availability. And we are grateful that you're here to provide insights, and we do hope that we'll have a very interesting conversation around the issues that has happened in this country in the last 1 year. And let me also join those who have said congratulations. We are saying the last month in the year 2024. Let's start quickly. The industry that you know today in Nigeria, 2024, under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, just a little over a year, what would you say if you look very critically at the changes or the outplays of the industry in the last 1 year? What are the three most critical things that stand out for you for the industry, whether be it at the upstream level or at the downstream as regards energy security and energy sufficiency?
Thank you. In the last 1 year, I think, let me put it back, the beginning of this administration, the first thing Mr. President did was to announce subsidy removal. And this is the best thing that has happened to the industry. Myself, I was a banker, and 20 years ago, precisely 20 and a half years ago, I took a step as a banker then that what would the industry be? The then administration, the president, former president Olusegun Obasanjo, made effort to remove subsidy and also to open the market. And what does that mean? To open the market for private sectors to come in and replace the public sector. You know, most of the major marketers then, they all belongs to government, and it was under his administration that government divested from the so-called AP, the so-called national oil and all the rest. And this is why I came into the industry. I left banking as a corporate finance person, as a corporate banker, and where the three banks I worked, I was in the oil and gas sector. And why I left is because I saw that there's a huge opportunity for us to come in and take over the public sector. And today, that promise has become a reality. So the first thing the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu did is to remove subsidy. This is the best thing that has happened to this country. And this is a step that ordinarily, these are things that no president will ever do it, except maybe IMF or World Bank or all these multilateral lending agencies will force them to do it. And he did it. We thank God that it's turning out to be a blessing for the country. And the second thing I will also talk about is that the president also ensured that PIA that was passed into law is being fully implemented. And today you can see that for the first time, you see that the production has gone up to a level that is even above what OPEC is asking us to produce. And the third thing I can also see, this is the first time that in a long time that we're in November, that there's no panic buying in the country. The product is readily available. And this is the first time you also see that the price of petroleum products is actually going down as against going up. Most especially that the fear that people have that when subsidy is removed, that the price will go to a level that people will not be able to afford. And I think these three things have reshaped the industry. And you can see that there's a lot of stability now. And people confidence level is high. Nobody is rushing to the station to do panic buying. And I think this is something that it is due to the kind of leaders that we have. that they know how to implement what they feel is good for the country and is good for the we that are in the private sector, and also that what is good for the economy in general.
Knowledge base wise, in terms of understanding the industry, having covered it in a bit, I may sit here and agree with you on some of the sectoral reforms, but that does not also suffice the same thinking and manifestations out there in public. And we also speak very strongly for the public with what we do as journalists. Whilst you say that this is a brilliant decision that has been taken by the government, I know you must have seen it from two angles: political will, political decisions, and also what exactly is important for, needful for the industry. But that's not, I think, exactly what the public is saying. When you say subsidy removal is good, when subsidy was removed, fuel was about the price of 100 and something naira to the liter. Today is over 8,000 and some fractions. Where's the goodness? For someone who does not understand the metrics and system operations of some of the things that has happened, isn't that a blunted decision that appears not to have taken into consideration people's welfare?
So if you ask so many people now, I don't think a lot of people remember they were buying fuel for 100 or 200 or 300 naira. The most important, there are two critical things. You know, when you have a country, that is when you talk of the people. And if you are from Sudan or you are from some other countries, then you feel what we are talking about. The most important thing is for us to ensure that there is stability in our economy. When there's no stability, then you don't talk of the people. You know that government, they've been throwing all their resources to fill in the gap of subsidy. Subsidy is not good for anyone. Nigerians are hardworking people. Nigerians don't really need subsidy. What Nigeria wants is sustainability. Nigeria wants something that will prosper their economy. We are hardworking people, and we are also proud people. It is not in our culture, or it is not in us for us to beg. Nigerians prefer them to see what they can buy. And subsidy comes with a lot of challenges. Even anybody you ask on the street, they will tell you they don't want subsidy. Yes, what people want is they should be able to get the product at affordable price. And I think this is what you have seen. And the most important thing is that we need infrastructure more than subsidy. If you look at the population, or if you look at the numbers of vehicles on the street and our population of 200 million people, I have many cars. Do I really need subsidy? No. You have many cars. At least you will have 2 cars. Do you really need subsidy? No. The people that actually need the subsidy, they don't even have vehicles. And government is subsidizing you and I, which it shouldn't be. The kind of cars we ride, do we need to buy fuel at a subsidized rate? The most important thing is that you can see that the government debt is going down. If you listen to some of your journalists, some of the pressmen, last year, maybe 2 years ago, they were all saying the resources of government, 98% or 99% of it are going into debt servicing. But now, the last time I checked is about 55-60%. And I think this is what we should think
What's the
about.
relationship?
Of course, the subsidy is not sustainable. Government cannot afford it. What government is doing is to pile up debts, keep borrowing in order to keep subsidy. Paying subsidy of 7 trillion is not sustainable. There's no economy that can sustain it. And I think what we see now is there's product everywhere, and the price is getting better, and competition will make the price to come down further. And I think this is the most important aspect of it that we need to look at. And also too, you can see, subsidy has been removed. We have 2 refineries that are operating. And I think these have value created as a result of the subsidy. You see more investment that will come. Unlike the time that you as an investor, you don't know whether there's any need for you because you don't even know what is the price, what is the policy that will surround the pricing. And alternatives are being created. You see now we have CNG. You see we have electric cars. And if PMS is high for you, you can switch to CNG and you see the kind of investment that will come from that aspect. But if we want to stick to government subsidizing, we will remain stagnant without moving forward as a country, and individually we will remain stagnant. I think the most important thing is that the product is there and also the price is becoming competitive. And at the end of the day, the people, on the average people, are the ones that will benefit from it.
I'll put this very straight to you and in another form, basically still asking the same question, because our job is to make sure that those for whom governments want to serve and are serving constitutionally understand what government is doing at every point in time, regardless of whether those decisions are painful temporarily or not. Let me put it this way to you. When the president removed subsidy on his first day in office, the argument has been that could it have been a gradual withdrawal rather than a total suspension of that process? And whilst you're here talking, do you completely agree that that decision was in the best interest at the time when it was taken? Or could the president have prorated the process of removal? Because a lot of people say they came under very heavy shock when this process was initiated from the first day in office. Is it something that if you had an opportunity or at the ears of the president, it would have been a regrettable decision, taking it head on when he did?
The president is the most informed. The president has access to what I don't. I can only see one aspect. For him to have taken that decision, he must have taken it based on the best interest for the nation. So it's like a pain that you talk about. As I've mentioned to you, we Nigerians, we are proud people. We rather take a pain and then we move forward in our respective life. It's like you want to go and take injection and the doctor is putting the syringe slowly. The pain will take longer time. Once they put the syringe, you receive the injection and then you get over, you get well, rather than for you to say, oh, let me take the 1 hour, 2 hours to do it. I think the best is what Mr. President has done. Subsidy has been removed. We should all support him for us not to go back to the subsidy era. Subsidy is of no value to us. We don't need it. And there's no country like us that has implemented subsidy that they've all not hesitated it. And I think it's the right time Mr. President did it. And for us in the private sector, some of us feel is the best thing. And people that you talk to on the street, they will tell you, after all, we have the product now. And I think investment and competition will make the people to smile at the end of the day.
So, as a finance man, former finance, and somebody who still understands financing, as it were, you never really get out of it. And now that you're a big investor in the energy sector in Nigeria, the removal and the economic benefit it brings versus the pain of what people thought they enjoyed while there was that payment, which, yes, we agree was not sustainable. But industry-wise, economic-wise, finance-wise, nationhood building-wise, you say that subsidy had to go.
Yes, I can't. It's justifiable. Let me give you an instance, and this is where you need to look at it. What is the country production? During COVID time, Nigeria was producing over almost 2 million or over 2 million barrels of oil. The price of crude oil came down. It came down, it became an issue for every economy globally to meet its obligation. And that is why you see IMF, World Bank, they introduced different kind of loans that people can draw. You can even borrow. You know, there are a lot of borrowing left and right. Up to today, many countries have not recovered from COVID. You know, there's inflation all over the world. Country currencies have become like junk. A lot of countries have gone into borrowing just to fill up the gap, to meet up their obligations. If you look at Nigeria economy, we are basically dependent on oil. When price of the country starts recovering from COVID, we can't recover just like that. And that is why, you know, government have to borrow to meet up its obligation. Are we going to continue to borrow? It will get to a point that we can no longer borrow. And what happened at that time? And that is where you see countries they go into problems, that you start seeing that civil servant salary cannot be paid. You know, people don't even spend on their currency. What NNPC have been doing over the years is to use their entire production to fulfill product importation, to also fulfill supply of products, you know, to ensure that there's energy security. It gets to a point that even NNPC can no longer bear the burden. And that is why you see Mr. President took the decision that this is the right thing for them to do. Now, NNPC doesn't have any obligations to say they have to import and they have to subsidize or use their cash flow to meet up with the burden of subsidy. And that is when you see that NNPC will be able to go back to their primary responsibility to ensure that we produce more oil, government can earn more revenue. And when oil production goes up, what do you expect? The dollar receivable is up and naira value can become more better than what you see now. Because there's no enough resources. All the oil productions are going into PMS importation, it's going into PMS subsidy. Even you as a producer, you are not sure that you can lift because energy security is the most important that the NNPC must fulfill as first line of obligations. So as I've explained to you, the subsidy removal, it may be painful now, but in the long run, it is going to be beneficiary to the country. And I will tell you, as the demand, as the consumption dropped, no. Last month, average consumption was about 45 million. In October, it was around 45, 46 million. So it shows that the people have already adjusted to the price and people are able to walk into a station and buy. Average price, you know, journalists have been reporting in Kano in September is around 1,004. You know, people are crying, the price is high. Maiduguri went as high as 1,008. In October, Abuja here, people were buying at 1,003, 1,004. You even queue before you can even see. Places like Ubua, they were selling 1,005. But today, there's nowhere in the country where PMS is sold above 1,180. In Maiduguri, my filling station is selling less than 1,000, around 1,150 or something like that. In Abuja, all over the country. So these are the gains that you have seen that removal of subsidy has brought to the country. You know, and opportunities are there. You can invest. People can decide. Unlike before that you are not even sure, you will go out and see the fuel because it's becoming a burden, unbearable burden for government, unbearable burden for the people that are involved in the supply chain. You have been read a lot of things in the media that they will say today NNPC is owing 6 billion. You know, NNPC will come out, we are not owing. You know, these are all burdens of subsidy. since subsidy has been removed, did anybody report NNPC is owing? Is anybody reporting federal government is owing? It's purely private-driven business now. And as a private person, the consumer will decide, because nobody is going to compel you to go and buy from one station or the another station. And you yourself, you now know that you can plan with what you have. So in the long run, if it is fully implemented, we support it. NNPC production will go up. And as a result of that, we earn more money from export. And at the same time, the country, you can see the country foreign reserve is growing. We are at 40 billion now. When last did central bank or the federal federation has 40 billion in foreign reserve? When last can you think of that? These are all the gains of the subsidy removal. And you can also see that in the past, before subsidy was removed, NNPC have to keep about 2 billion liters of oil. 2 billion liters of oil is about 1.5 million tons. If you look at 1.4 million tons in monetary value, it's almost about $1.5 billion. This is stock that NNPC have to keep. To keep those stock, it costs them not less than $1 million a day in demurrage. But what has happened today? NNPC is no longer keeping those stocks.
So let me understand this explanation you're giving as regards holding strategic national reserves that NNPC was doing prior to subsidy removal, which you are trying to give us one of the valid points to support the removal of the policy around redirecting those finances, because that's exactly what subsidy was or should be. I mean, you're paying for something and it's not profitable, so you redirect that finance or save yourself from spending that finance. So explain to us, how that relates to strategic reserves that were costing us some monies to pay, which you were trying to explain, just to be clear on that.
So the financing structure has changed. Before government bears the burden, you have to keep the stock, you have to pay for it, you have to bear the demurrage. The burden is a lot, it's too much. And during the subsidy era, you as a marketer, you can never lose money. Because what is it? Government bears the entire cost. The government pays for inefficient of the market, because it's a guaranteed business for the marketers. It's a guaranteed business for all the people that are involved.
But the marketers were the ones, the marketers are the ones that should not support the removal of subsidy. But you're here support. If you were making that kind of money, why
no, I'm not saying making that. You have a guaranteed margin. Just I've told you, the most important thing is the country. If I'm from Sudan now, if I'm making money and I'm in Sudan, my business in Sudan, can that business make that money again? So this is why we have to protect our country and we have to protect our economy. Matrix is one. Tomorrow I can decide not to run Matrix, but can I throw away my identity? So this is why we have to protect the country. And when you talk about the financing, what subsidy removal has done is to remove the financing obligation, the stress of finance from the hand of government, now in the hand of the private sector. And which is a fantastic thing that has happened. You have seen the foreign reserve is up. You have seen Naira remain the same level at least before subsidy was removed. You have seen now that most of the products in the market are coming from private sector, and the prices has not gone up. It has remained what it is, just as what you have seen in the telecoms. In the olden days that we have Nitel, the consumer don't know whether Nitel is making money or making losses. But today, what do you see? The telecoms is fully deregulated. Government only get themselves involved in ensuring that the consumers are not just changed. They are just to protect the consumer and to also ensure the quality of services superb. And this is the same thing that you will see. And you're already seeing that. That is why the price is coming down.
Let's address this issue of whether it's a man or a woman or a spirit that people don't see, but they call it market forces. People say, they hear each time that this will happen owing to market forces. Market forces will drive down costs. Market forces will ensure there is availability of product. Who is market forces? To the layman's ideology of understanding how this entire thing affects his power to purchase, power to expend in this whole process. Energy is a very serious instrument of security for Nigeria especially. I don't know for other countries, but especially for Nigeria as a huge reserve place for energy resource, but yet energy shortchanged. This man, this woman, or this entity, or this invisible entity called market forces, how does it play out in all of this? Because we're coming soon to tell you, to ask you very loudly what the people are also asking now that the refineries are here. We're going to drill and take it all the way and see how all of this ensures that we are coming up to the Nigeria that everyone wants to see, where everybody is actually equal in acceptance of this as a citizen.
So what we learn in business school, even the simple economics in secondary school, is demand and supply, and equilibrium price comes in. When the demand is strong and there's no supply, what do you see? The price goes up. When there's excess supply and the demand is weak, what happened? It comes down. If you look at it, OPEC has been struggling for years to make sure that they keep cutting productions just because they want price of oil to be at a particular price. They feel this should be the price of oil. But what you see, OPEC is reducing, non-OPEC is what? They are pumping more oil. And this is good. This is good for the world. If the entire world is in the hand of OPEC, maybe today oil price will be $200 or $300. But today, what do you see? Oil price is stable. Once it goes certain level, you see countries like US, what do? They draw from their reserve because there's a price that is right, that the global economy can accommodate. Oil, Nigeria doesn't have control. It's a global thing. If price of oil should go up, it affects everybody all over the world. It's not only us in Nigeria. So oil politics is beyond Nigeria. And I think it's something we should not waste much of our time over it. But what do we do as a country? If we want to seclude ourselves from what happens at the global market, then we should pay the price. And that is why we are paying for subsidy. If you don't want to face reality, then you pay for subsidy. But as I've said, after a while, you are paying, your revenue is not going up. It will affect you in a lot of ways. Because in the past, we are not facing reality. And that is why Naira become what it is today. When we start doing the right thing, you see the foreign reserve is going, the Naira is getting firmer. And I believe if NNPC production should go up, people produce more. NUPRC just launched additional 1 million barrels. If NUPRC is able to do that, the producers are able to do that, the foreign reserve is up. Government just signed several agreements, even in France, that the president just went to, for people to come and invest in the solid mineral. These are things that gives the country more revenue in dollars. And if you earn more in dollars, you consume less in dollars, you have more reserve, and definitely the value of Naira will firm up. So when you talk about the market forces is something that you should allow it to play. And when it goes to the extreme, then there can be one form of intervention or the others to stabilize the market, which invariably OPEC is doing that already. When the market is getting tighter, OPEC increase production. When the market is getting oversupply, they saturated, they reduce output. And this is where you see the oil price find itself, and which I think, as I've explained to you, the market will sort itself out. When Globalcom, Airtel and MTN started, people are complaining the price of phone is 30,000 Naira, is too much. But today now, do you even pay to get SIM card? You don't. And this is where the industry will tend to. And with what you are seeing, the CNG is running after petrol. With times, you see there's no reason for you to go and buy fuel at 1,000 Naira or 900 Naira when you can buy CNG at equivalent of 250. So the opportunities are there. The best is that government have removed subsidy, but they've also created immediate opportunity for people to have a substitute to what we feel is expensive.
CNG is still crawling. at best, from our analysis, it's still at this infancy in terms of adoption, in terms of penetration from those who government have saddled with the responsibility of pushing it, because it should naturally serve as a quick alternative and a quick win for to hedge the pain of that removal, as it were, right? Because I mean, the CNG is not being imported, the natural gas is here, the processing plants are here. Just put it in the bottle and have a retrofitting equipment in your car, and you're good to go. That adoption process is what we're still looking at why government is not able to find a common ground between what they want to propagate and the adoption from the people. So that lacuna is still there. But let me take you to one of the supposed agreeable, understandable benefits of this whole process, which is increased supply. Increased supply comes as a result of what you're saying, because a marketer will not take an investment decision if he's not sure. No lender will give you any money if he's not sure that your business output can support the money they've given in terms of payment. So no marketer or no oil person would have gotten any money to do refineries in the past and sustain it if he wasn't sure of the unit price or the cost of petroleum products. Today, that is sacrosanct now. The law has taken care of it. The PIA has taken care of it, has put a price, has liberalized the market, as it were. And we can see that Dangote Refinery, for instance, is trying to pull its weight around supply issues, around supply of petroleum products. But if that becomes the only avenue and means of supply, are we not back to the negative effect of what demand and supply is? There's still a lot of controversy around the recently restarted Port Harcourt refinery. How do you see all of these things, and what do you envisage should be happening so that we can take the full benefit of demand and supply whilst we have to get to an equilibrium?
I was at Port Harcourt refinery a few months ago, like 2-3 months ago. I predicted that refinery will start up by middle of December. But you see, it's running well today. This should be a national pride, that a refinery that has not worked for a long period of time is working today.
So Port Harcourt refinery, with all the controversies and all the talks around whether it is producing, whether it is blending, bottom line, it's streaming right now. So it is adding to that market or that bouquet of supply?
Yes, if I take product to Port Harcourt all the time, as I speak to you, I have a vessel discharging in Port Harcourt. So if my cost cannot compete with Port Harcourt refinery, why go and sell there again? I will not. So because I have product in tank, other people have product in tank. Port Harcourt refinery, we have to compete with us. And we have to compete with Port Harcourt refinery. So, and then why should I land product cheaper than Port Harcourt refinery? And that is where you see the check and balances. And Port Harcourt is working well. It's working according to the template. We are one of the financiers. We brought in money, and then we know what he should do. Forget about whatever you read in the media. I was there when it was commissioned, and we were there like 2 months ago. We saw it, and every day we get the report, because we have the right. As a lender, as an off-taker lender, we have the right. And for your information, we are even loading a vessel from Port Harcourt in the next couple of days. So
vessel of what?
We are loading a fuel oil vessel.
What some members of the public do not understand is that you cannot blend technically if you're not producing. You can only blend products that have been produced. You can't blend naphtha and say, for instance, C5, if naphtha has not been produced from distillation of crude, which is what the processing or process of a refinery is doing. So if you put that on one side and confidently tell us today that the Port Harcourt refinery is working, not just for talks. Your money is involved, and huge money is involved, and therefore you can't afford to be joking with your hard-earned currencies. That suggests that then you are out for competition.
This is what we want. Competition that is good. It's good for the country, it's good for the consumers, and it's also good for the economy. And competition brings about efficiency. So anybody that is not ready to face competition then should drop out. We love it. And that is why we invest into what we know how to do best. And we will encourage competition. Once you remove competition, there is not of any interest anymore. And that is why some of us are happy that this is the time for us now, to demonstrate what we've learned in business school, to demonstrate our business, to demonstrate our acumen, to demonstrate our quality. And I think we're happy.
With 60,000 barrels?
I'm telling you, it's beyond. The second refinery is 150. You have other refineries that are coming up. Just as I've told you, when I started this business, refineries were working. Most of the depots that you see were built to complement the refineries. So when the refineries were all down, it's a different ball game. So if you have come to this trade because you think you can import 100%, then you have issues. When I built my depot in Warri, the first product that entered that storage came from Port Harcourt Refinery. My jetty to Warri jetty is 800 meters. So the Warri Refinery was running. And we didn't build the depot. We didn't say because Warri Refinery will never work. That is why we built the depot. And that is why we have invested, across the value chain. And today we're happy. If the country is 100% sufficient, we're happy. We love, to take product from Nigeria, take it to some other country, take product from other country, bring it to Nigeria. It brings more value to me. If I bring a vessel that comes to discharge PMS and I can use that same vessel to load naphtha and take it somewhere else, I will pay less freight. And this is where the value is. Today, some of us are playing in other countries. We have a terminal in Ghana. Ghana has a refinery. There's a private refinery running in Ghana. Ghana is producing gas. And then we are still importing gas into Ghana. And then we're okay. And there are some other countries that we play that it is both in and out. And I think this is the good side of this trade. Your brain works better when you have to, be creative.
Yes, on your toes.
Not the one that you are just sitting down there. Every day, you have to go to this particular source to get product. When we all depend on NNPC, it's like our talents are being buried. Now that Mr. President has helped us by removing subsidy, allowing us to buy from wherever we want to buy, we're happy, we're active.
We started with 3 most outstanding elements and things that have come out of the industry under this administration, at least in the last 1 year. I'm going to also ask you to do 3 of what you expect to see from this industry going forward into the new year. 3 outstanding things that will happen with NNPC also being a player and their size in this industry and in the nation's livelihood and energy security. I asked the question around, is it just about PMS? Is that all the values that we can get? 3 outstanding things you think we are going to see over the next 1 year as far as this industry is concerned, with all that is playing out now. Sum it up for us. 3 most important things that you think will be the output from the entire conversation, processes, investments, movements, and the policy of government as far as energy, oil and gas is concerned, production, supply, maintenance, whatever.
The first is energy security. This is guaranteed. And I think we should also support government to ensure that the burden of ensuring energy security does not shift back to government. We in the private sector should ensure that we support government in this area to make sure that the country is adequately supplied with product. And the second thing I will talk about is in the next couple of, as you are saying, Nigeria will become a major hub, that we will now be the ones supplying our neighbors. We are a giant of Africa, and if we are able to import, are able to refine locally, then we should be able to feed our neighboring countries and also be able to contribute to, because if we are only sufficient, they are not sufficient, it will still create burden on us. And I think we are seeing that already. And the third point I will also talk about is the economy. If NNPC that you mentioned is able to produce more, they've announced they are doing 1.8 million. NUPRC launched additional 1 million about a month ago, which you attended. If you are able to do 2.4, 2.5 million, you know the implication of it, that there's more dollar for government. And if there's more dollar for government, what happens? The value of Naira becomes stronger. And I think these are what I expected in the next couple of months. And in addition to it, I will add 1 month to it. There's a substitute that is there. Nigeria is blessed with gas. We have more gas than oil. You can see a lot of people even are talking about CNG now. We are slow in implementing new things. We are, as I've told you, we are proud. We see that why should I can afford 1,000 naira to buy fuel. Why should I go and, be buying fuel of 250 naira? And I think with time, you see that just as now, you can't see any carburetor car again. You cannot hardly see manual car. You can't go and say you want to go and learn driving with manual car. A time will come in this country that when you see somebody using gasoline car, you wonder and say, what kind of, maybe it will even become something that people will gather to come and see. So this is what you see. I expect in the next couple of months, more people to sign on for CNG, and a lot of investment are coming into the gas utilization, which is our own transition. Our transition is to gas. And this is what government is putting all effort, and we will support government to ensure that this is achieved within the shortest period of time.
If it is about the citizens, if it's about the welfare of the country, if it's about the purchasing power of an average citizen, if it's about reinforcing the weak, because even God himself is perpetually involved in the lives of the weak, if it's about considerable interest in the purchasing power and the income of the citizen, then this is good. Then this sounds good. The other part will be that all the challenges around smuggling, around vandalism, how does that attempt to dim this beautiful scenario that we have been discussing here?
Smuggling occurs when there's arbitrage. Arbitrage, you know what I mean. Before fuel had been sold here 600 naira, you go to neighboring country, it's higher. I just came from a country where equivalent price in naira is about 2,600
per liter.
So if you are selling 800 naira, why won't you drive 2,000, 3,000 kilometers to that country and go and sell? But what you have seen now is we are paying the right price. It's market forces. And this smuggling can be turned into opportunities. If you go to Ghana, go to Togo, go to Benin Republic, those interlocked countries are discharging in those countries and re-exporting this product to all those countries. Why can't we turn this smuggling into a business opportunity? Why can't we legitimate? Yes. Why can't we turn it into a business opportunity? If I can discharge product in Ghana and take it to those interland countries, why can't I discharge in Port Harcourt or Warrior or Lagos and take to those interland countries? So these are opportunities that subsidy removal has brought, because government does not lose anything. The government is not paying or part of the cost. So these are opportunities that come. And if you go to those neighboring states, those neighboring countries. If they get from Nigeria, it's better for us. And it even boosts our economy. We are turning illegitimate activity to legitimate activity, and which is, I think, is an area that, we should look at it and see how we create value for our people.
Vandalism of infrastructure that can sever the lifeblood.
It's, the law enforcement should be able to handle that. And as I've explained to you, people have reasons why they do things, and that is why you have the law. Criminals will always be a criminal, but when there's, what you face if you are caught as a criminal, then I think the law enforcement agents should be strengthened to be able to reduce all this vandalism, which is not good for the environment, it's not good for the people.
As always, I'll ask you to speak to this camera in a few seconds as we round up and tell us that you are re-emphasizing again that subsidy was good for Nigeria when it was removed.
We thank President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for being bold and for loving this country by removing subsidy. This is the best reform that he has done, and I think the people should be patient. We're already seeing the reward. We're already seeing the benefit of this, and I'm sure in the next couple of months, people will thank him, and they will also appreciate some of us that have worked with the establishment to ensure that a day like this come into reality. This is what I dreamed of 20 years ago, and I'm happy that this year that it has become a reality.
I hope you don't get stoned. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
For talking to us.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.